Shalom, shalom. Welcome back to The Journey, where we come across individuals who keep the righteous laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High and have powerful testimonies. And today I am with a brother, especially in the Indianapolis area, that do not need an introduction. This brother has been waking up people. He's been an instrument of the Most High. His music has been transcending throughout the country, and so many individuals have been really loving his music in the past, especially his past albums just have come out. But I want him to be able to share his name, a little bit of background, a little bit about himself, and then we're going to get into the journey.
Shalom, shalom, family. I'm Makellow. As that's the big out over here just said, and just let Baruch to be here. You know what I mean? To be able to share my testimony, my journey with y'all, whoever may watch and see, and be, that's it.
All right, hallelujah. So now, for those that do not know, you have music online. All right, so let's talk about that a little bit. We're gonna get back to the music. I want you to start off just saying a little bit about what you do in your music and how it's been helping people.
Okay, so the music I do is I call it truth music, and it's inspirational music and inspired by the Torah and the Holy Bible. You know what I mean? The Holy Word of the Yah of Israel, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and just put it in a way that that the ones who may not pick up the book and read it for themselves may still get the a fullness or a dose and a drive to actually pick it up and read it for themselves. You know what I mean? To see what is being said and see what's the spirit behind it. You know what I mean? As they could listen to their everyday music in their life. You know what I mean? That wouldn't be as inspiring to run into the Bible and see what it entails. You know what I mean? Which is their history that I believe that can free them. It's the spirit of the Most High Yah. It's His words. And so that's why I'm inspired to do that.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, man. Definitely some powerful music. I met you back about 4 years ago in Detroit. You and your brother was out there putting in the work, passing out CDs, even when I driving back home to the state that I was going to, pull up at a gas station, y'all was out doing y'all thing, still passing out CDs, talking to individuals. So we're gonna get back into that as we build our way back up. But I want to talk about the young version of you, the Young Makellow.
Yeah.
So let's go back to your younger days. How was life for you in the younger years of your life, let's say around the time, the age of your son right now, and just growing up?
Okay.
Did you have a true relationship with the Father, the Most High at that time, or did that have to form over time?
I would say just being informed by him, because my son right now is at the age of 5. So around that age, I was just being told of him by my granny and my mother. You know what I mean? And I took it and I stood on it as faith, and I prayed in faith. And when I seen it come to pass, that's why I was praying for it being fulfilled. That was my yeah, he real.
So at 5 years old, you were seeing things come to pass?
If I prayed for it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So and then how did that help you as you continue to grow older?
It gave me a faith that believed that it was a greater force than what I could see with my own too, that was acting on my behalf to benefit, the greater good. And that's what it led me to believe.
Okay. So just kind of growing up after that, as you was going to maybe elementary school or public school, did you seem like you was a little bit different, or did you just seem like you just fit in with everybody?
I felt that I could fit in with everybody, but it wasn't a choice. I didn't have a desire to fit in with everybody. I wanted to be myself. I wanted to just be who the Most High made me to be, you know what I mean, and move forward within that, versus fitting in with the in gang or the in crowd. you know what I mean, or you know, what they are deemed popular or and all that.
Yeah, now I mean, just driving over where we at, we see a lot of activity. You know, this is one of the roughest cities in the country right here. So let's talk about that. Was you going to church often, or was you just kind of like in the streets, or just a combination of both? How did that work?
It was definitely a combination of both. You know what I mean? I didn't really go to. I went to church. You know what I mean? Especially on holidays and. You know what I mean? And we was going to church at spurts, like time, but it wasn't like consistent. But yeah, in the streets, you know what I mean, it was more so I just had the freedom to go outside, you know what I mean? So I was out at an early age, being the youngest of my siblings and cousins. So, you know what I mean, I was out there. And it's rough around here, but once you know what I mean, you raised somewhere and you know how to, carry yourself with a level of decency and respect, you know what I mean, there's a certain level that's dished out to all men.
Right. So that's, in a way, that's kind of walking in that wisdom. I sometimes like to call it the street wisdom, because you gotta have wisdom for the streets when you're out here. And sometimes people, they can read the scriptures or read the book, but it's something else that goes, or something else that's been adapted by a person that's actually walked in the streets. That they can teach and tell individuals that may be naive with certain things that go on here. So, teenage years, now you into that life, is this around the time to where you start developing this love for music, or did you already have it before you was a teenager?
Before I was a teenager, it was I had a love for music because I had done it since I was about 5 years old.
Man.
My uncle had took me on his wing and told me about music, telling me how to, to rap and all this, and I just did it freely, like freestyling. And that's how I developed the music. But my first love, before the love of music, you know what I mean, or I had, even a passion to do it at all, or a desire to do it at all, was art. I liked to draw.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And when I got 16, it was more, as a teenager, it was more sociable, you know what I mean, in the crowd, just to rap than to draw. You know what I mean? So I got more, I was more into rapping at that time. So 16 was when I first, 15, 16 really, it was about around that time. And that's when I first started trying to write it down. Before then, it was just all right off the top of the head.
Right off the top of your head.
Yeah.
Okay. That's cold, man, because, a nice amount of people, they start with writing it down, and then they develop off the top of the head, but you came straight to off the top of the head and start writing it down. That's pretty interesting. So at that time, were you kind of like running with some dudes, or was you kind of like a solo guy?
Pretty much both.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I always did my own thing, and at the same time ran with everybody, like, just to, do it socially and be cool, you know what I mean? And it was, you know what I mean? I kept meeting, you know what I mean, new solid people around me and making friends in the midst of it, you know what I mean? So it was cool to do it along with my friends and those around me, as well as do it as my own, as having a passion for it in general.
Okay. So where did that lead you as you kind of phased off through the high school days and going into your young adult life? Where did that put you at?
Yeah.
What was that like?
I didn't really think to do it as a career as a teenager and all that. It was more so a hobby, or if it could be heard, then it is what it is. Going in as an adult, it was like, all right, I can do it. I'm around the age of 21.
Now, let me pause for a second. So around the age of 21, how is this relationship now that you had at 5 years old, now at 21? You've been through so much since those years, 16 years. Are you still thinking about the Most High at 21, or he's just the furthest thing from your mind, and you just out here living for the world and just doing whatever you can do?
he ain't the furthest. He definitely was never there. It was like he was there, and he was like just taking me through the midst of things as towards to revealing itself. Like the project, I put out a mixtape at it was 2009. I was either 20, 21, and that mixtape, you know, it was called Truth Hurts.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And it was just talking about a lot of stuff that goes on around me, and you know, I still made minor references to the Most High, and it just after that, that's when things took a turn. You know what I mean? I did it, and thought about like really going forth and like in that direction as far as music. You know what I mean? To try to get mainstream and all that.
And this is 21 still? Or
yeah, this is 20.
Okay, 21.
21.
Okay.
2021. And I had the desire, I wanted to do that, but he was calling me. He was calling me. I was seeing more truth. I was seeing everything that was going on, even the revealing of the industry and how they be used by, you know what I mean, by the enemy to get in their positions and all that. So that made me draw back from it, you know, in itself, because it's like y'all gotta worship the devil and not give praises to the Most High. You know what I mean? I don't want to be in that.
Man, I wish you could just say everything you just said all over again, rewind. Because there's so many individuals that they want to be famous. They want to chase stardom. They want everyone to know their name. They want to have money. But they don't know that it comes with a price.
Right.
And you at the age of 21 knew that this is going to take some level of sacrifice.
Right.
It's going to take me to have to give up my morals to get to this level over here, and I don't want no part of it.
Right.
Okay, so so where did that put you at then? Did you just want to be more underground, or you just?
Yeah, it definitely did. It made me like I don't care like about it at all at this point. You know what I mean? I was just I started at that like he was pulling me closer. You know what I mean? And I did have the desire for it, you know, the stardom and all that. But I said at the cost of it, it wasn't worth it. And just paying attention to different artists that was in mainstream that had been tricked out and been going through different stuff. It's like, man,
right.
You know, everything that glitter ain't gold, what it profit a man that gain the world loses soul. You know what I mean? So it was like that was just hitting. And with that, it's like I got closer to the Most High with it because it made me lean towards Him. And I prayed. I did a petition. You know what I mean? Prayed to Him and about the music. You know what I mean? That I was choosing to walk with Him regardless. But it was more so I was going to stop the music in general that I was making. But then it was like I wanted a purpose, and I prayed to Him that give me a purpose behind it. You know what I mean? So it can be driven, that it can be more, you know, used. And I had a dream, and it was a baby in it, and they was crying, and it was they was listening to a beat. It was like a beat that I had recently had.
Man.
And a man came and grabbed the baby, and once he grabbed him, that was good. And then the translation I got from it was just, you know what I mean, you do it, and get reborn, and the Father will take care of him.
Ooh,
you know
man,
I mean?
that's
So,
deep. Can you say that one more time for the say the translation of that dream one more time?
Do the Father's will. You know what I mean? He had, it was just an instrument. You know what I mean? So we're just instruments. So do the Father's will. They'll be reborn. There was first babies. They was crying. They was in need, and the one that came to pick them up to stop the cries was a father figure. It was a male.
Hallelujah.
So that's the translation I got from it.
Hallelujah. So now after you got the translation from that, where did that take you from that point?
To seek, and I know like I didn't even know like at this point I didn't even know that I was an Israelite when I had that. I was just dealing with the music portion of it, for it's like doing it for a greater cause.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because at that time I was thinking like Christianity was the way.
Right.
You know, but I still wasn't going to church rapidly. I was more so in the Word and trying to get that revelation. I was just getting, watching them as, you know, a guide into it. But it wasn't, you know what I mean? It was so much difference in it. This is what led it to me, for me to be like, oh, okay, let me stand back a little bit. It was so much different in it, as far as what they was teaching and what was being read. And that's what made me back, even though it's like, yeah, okay, I like the love they show, I like the praise, the worship, and this side of it. You know what I mean? It was like, you got to read this word and see what this word is saying, because it's not coming across as just for you to get by on a day-to-day and be inspired, like to pay the real rent, the bills, and certain things that goes on in the community, but the overall like message, history behind it, the film, the prophecies that it talks about. You know what I mean? It's more than just wisdom to get by through your day-to-day.
Kind of. So now as you are maturing in your journey with the Most High, was it a certain age that you, was it that 21-year-old age, or was it somewhere beyond that you really humbled down and wanted to accept Him in your life? And at that time, outside of music, were you doing something else on the side? Was you like in the streets, you know, pushing, going along with that?
In the midst of everything, it was like just living life and living and learning. So yes, I was outside. You know what I mean? I was outside. I won't say like in the streets like that, but I was outside. You know, hanging out, parties, smoking, drinking. Doing everything, you know what I mean, under the sun that could be enjoyed.
Right.
To me,
right.
You know what I mean. But in the midst of it, he was revealing himself unto me, and that was like slowly me, gradually pulling me towards him. You know what I mean, and the fullness thereof. And as the more so I got closer to him, the more that them ways was being broke up off of me.
Hallelujah.
You know what I mean, and in general, and it was there's still trials of today. You know what I mean?
Right.
Today that I go through, but at the same time, I have reverence of him a lot more than what I had back then. Right. You know what I mean? To go through it with a with a better mindset, with a better mentality than what I had.
So and definitely, you made some valid points in that. But I wanted to see, was it a specific moment in your life? Because everybody, it seems like, has a moment to where they can point back to and say, this is when my life changed at this moment right here. So did you have that moment, or has it just been a progression over time that you really haven't seen one moment?
I can't pinpoint it on one moment, because it was like gradually leading into it, because I can pinpoint moments, you know what I mean, but to pinpoint it on one moment, I just can't say it.
What are some of those moments that was building you up to who you are today?
Yeah, so some of those moments it was just the acknowledgement of the Most High. It was the acknowledgement of Yah. And the acknowledgement came like some at the roughest times, and you know, to put that out there, it was like growing up, you know what I mean, living in the house, selling drugs, you know what I mean, and it get broke into, you know what I mean, and going through that situation definitely made me want to get closer to the Most High and be like, you know what I mean, let's leave this lifestyle alone. You know what I mean? So it's certain instances like that and moments like that got me closer, but I still stumbled and went back into my old ways and to return unto vomit. Right. You know what I mean? Right. So it's hard to pinpoint one moment when you still turn unto the vomit. Right. You know what I mean? So but when I really have got the knowledge is when I felt like he felt like I was ready, or he knew that I was ready, because he know everything. he knew that I was ready to come out of all that, and that's when he did. And that's when I got with I wouldn't say got with him, and just develop even a greater relationship personally. You know what I mean? Getting into that word, learning him, standing on it. You don't learn him per se, but you learn of him. Right. You know what I mean? As he revealed himself more and more through his word in your day-to-day life.
Okay, so I know I interviewed your brother Vision last year, and I believe he mentioned in that interview he was going through his own different journey on things the Most High was taking him through, through jail, through different situations, but you was on this other path, and then he bumped into you somewhere down the road, and you was making this music. Yeah. It might have been Christian music at the time. Okay, so let's talk about that, because this is starting to.
No, this ain't Christian. This was like it was actually it was me coming out of it. You know what I mean? And I was gradually still speaking, still saying the name JC. Right. You know, and I still was but I still was telling them our identity, that we're the Hebrews, and putting the knowledge and what I have researched also into music. And there was a project called Life Over Death. Okay. And that's the project that he heard and he listened to, and he was like, oh, okay. This was something that he already was studying, that he already knew about as well, and was like, all right, let me listen and hear him out. And when he did it, you know, it benefited all praises to the Most High Yah. And that's, you know, we always had the same ruach. We always moved in the same spirit, in a sense, and it was just the Father that linked us together and allow us to actually have that unity of brotherhood. Okay, so then where did that take you now? You dropped that album, you dropped that CD. We started working on Trinity Shakur. Okay, and that's the one that I heard when I met you. Yeah. All right, so definitely heard some tracks with that song. I was riding back home listening to that from out of town. Yeah. So what inspired that album? Because somebody would hear Trinity and they would say, then they hear Shakur, and then you on some Tupac stuff. Right. So like break that down a little bit. Alright, so the inspiration was in that it was Trinity by being it was 3 of us, and we all had was inspired by, you know, Pac as far as being musically inclined. You know what I mean? Pac was one of our top-notch artists in the world. Right. And so later to come to find out that Shakur meaning black, you know, in Hebrew, you know, and Trinity, you know, it's not the representation of Trinity of the spirits, Father and Son. You know what I mean? It's as mentioned in Christianity. Right. So you put that album out. It gained some traction. More people were listening to it. I know you went to multiple events, passing out those CDs, you know, networking, building, things of that nature. So, like, what kind of doors opened up after that CD drop for you all? It was actually it did. It was a pretty lot. You know what I mean? We met, and it was the first time that we actually went out and done that. When we was down there, it was at Great Awakening. Right, Detroit, yeah, Detroit, 2019. That was the first time we got that completed. We went out there and did it, and it went well. We met a lot of brothers, Ox, Sakotis. You know, said they was inspired by it. They, you know, administered well with them, and for the most part, the music grasped, and it's at one point of understanding. I just pray that it elevates. You know? Right. It just takes you from one level to the next. Right. You know what I mean? We all need stepping stones, and we all didn't get here as poof like a magic trick. You know what I mean? It took time for us to sit down, read, get the feel with the ruach, get refilled. You know what I mean? You go through a nurturing process of being healed. You know what I mean? You gotta constantly eat and diet. You know what I mean? To get what you need. You know what I mean? So I just, you know, grateful, you know what I mean, and not even just grateful, but thankful, you know what I mean, to the Most High, Yah, you know what I mean, to being able to be used.
Right. So you're seeing the impact that it's having on people. Did it keep encouraging you to want to do more projects?
Yeah.
More?
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
You keep using your gift?
Yeah, to keep using my gift as the Father intended, you know what I mean, and not being held down by any man opinion of what it's doing.
Right.
You know what I mean? And as long as it's lining up with the word, you know what I mean? If it's lining up with the word, hallelujah. You know what I mean? They just continue to grow. You know what I mean? Keep growing in faith, keep growing in knowledge, keep growing in spirit, you know, till we make it home. And that's what it's about. You know what I mean? Because I know that only thing I can do is pour out what's in me presently. You know what I mean? And if the Spirit pour in more, the more will be poured out. And that's what we have to do. You know what I mean? Get more of the field with the Ruach, it's the Spirit of truth, and allow it to just pour out. You know what I mean? We can't just be stagnant because you feel that you're not as adequate or up there on the level of moray or you know what I mean, that been in for 20 years.
Right.
You know what I mean? Do what the Father has you to do.
So you say that one more time for the brothers.
Do what the Father has you to do.
So because a lot of times we can compare ourselves to one another, especially people you see them on. Compare ourselves amongst ourselves. We see each other on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, and you, like you said, you see people that seem like they're on a whole different level, but then you despise the gift that the Father's giving you because you want to compare yourself to someone else.
Right.
Like, and I look at what you do as very unique. You know what I mean? You may look at what I do as very unique, but it's like the moment I want to downgrade my gift that the Most High has given me because I see you on a whole different level of music, or the moment you want to downgrade your gift from music because you see what the Most High is doing to me, then that causes problems. And that's one of the major mistakes that we have as people, is that we compare one to another. Instead of moving in our own lane,
that's right,
and trying to do that to the best of our ability.
We are fearfully and wonderfully made, uniquely special, precious gems. And gems don't come in just one size, nor shape, or color, and they don't all shine the same.
Right.
You know what I mean? But they all do glisten, and they all do shine, and they all are great, and they all are precious stones. You know what I mean? And they all are cherished by the Most High. So why compare?
You see a lot of that, and you see a lot of that, and even in the walk that you're in now, you see a lot of people comparing music artists to music artists, and seeing some of the same stuff that you saw back then, or you don't really see that no more today.
I say, you know what I mean. I say really, if it's fun, then just have at it as fun, but don't take it to heart to where it's a problem, because we know back in the world when they had situations like Hot Biggie, or you know what I mean, even what rappers are going through now with a lot of them being killed. If one artist say something different about this artist, then they whole fan base don't even like them to the point that it's causing they can't go into certain cities or certain areas because of that. You know what I mean? It really caused a big friction when they all could be growing together and allowing all their places to flourish.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So now you had the group. I don't know if the group's still together today, but it seemed like Vision did his CD, seemed like you did that. I don't really know the other brother like that. But I know you got your own CD now, the Book of Makellow. So what inspires you? Because I know the title by itself, it catches people's attention and it makes you, what is this all about? You know, seeing you come out of a book. So let's break that down a little bit. What inspired the album, The Book of Makellow?
I say the Ruach HaKodesh, definitely the Father album, Yahuwah. And I would say the prophets, you know what I mean? They had books, not necessarily self-proclaiming myself as a prophet, but we're little books and we're meant to be read. You know what I mean? And we have the spirit of if you have the spirit of the Most High Yah in you, you are meant to be read and benefited. You know what I mean? It said if he be lifted up, you know, he would draw all men unto him.
Right.
You know what I mean? My name is Makellow, spelled together, Makellow.
Makellow, huh?
You know what I mean? I let me decrease that he may increase.
Man.
You know what I mean? Period.
Makellow, man, Makellow. So that's humility right there at a whole nother level. So now that album right there, I mean that brother song, you know, you don't want to say something that's like a hit single. You sound like you're out of the world or something like that. But that song is a standout song, and so many people around the country, and I would probably say around the world, has been saying that brother song. So what inspired you to write Brother?
One of my biggest inspiration, I would say, is Vision, the Hebrew, on our relationship as him being my brother, you know what I mean, and my biological brother, and my brothers that's in the truth. It was just drawn from a lot of places.
Okay.
You know what I mean? My experience being the oldest brother in my family, and you know, it was inspired by that, and to spread that amongst the nation. You know what I mean? True love. You know, we'll get it wrong by saying, you know, someone wronged us as a brother and we can't forgive him.
Right.
We think of Joseph, who was sold out to slavery, and you know, for years upon years, and forgave all of them. You know what I mean?
That's powerful.
So it was like, you know what I mean, just the love, and show the love of the brotherhood. You know what I mean? Even if there is differences, that don't mean the love ain't real.
Hallelujah. So after that CD now, where has that been leading you at now? Because I know some more people has been you know, more aware of what you're doing. I'm quite sure after this is over with, more people are going to be even reaching out as well. But what other doors been opening up to you after that CD drop? So I know people have been calling you, trying to get you to feature on their CDs. I done heard you on some stuff.
Yeah.
So like, so what's been going on after that?
It's Austin to Hollywood, Austin, because it was definitely beyond me, and it's even more so that, you know, I'm kind of private. You know what I mean? I like being in a secret place of the Most High.
Yeah.
So being out there and just shining your light, and it's all esteemed to Him. You know what I mean? It took me to where, like you said, I done features, Solomon, Israel, Ox Solomon, me and Marshall Rock got a project coming. Just so many artists to even name, you know what I mean? Man, and
it's just been great.
It's been great.
And
the performances, the performances, definitely, and that's all. It's all been a blessing. It's all been for root. You know what I mean? Because like I said, it was beyond me that it'll take me to where I'm at right now. And it ain't nothing that's glory or to boast in or anything like that. Right. It's more so it's just being humble. You know what I mean? Because I would have desired this when I was out in the world, for us, like you know what I mean, being able to do the music, being able to be heard. You know what I mean? But to have the genuineness within it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Contact because of what you're doing for the Father, and righteousness and truth versus, you know what I mean, getting out there and have to risk your life and your freedom, you know what I mean, and seeing you blessed because of that. You know what I mean? Like how just in comparison, how worldly artists would get on the stage and say they bless God for getting that reward, and all through their songs they talking of provocative and completely against it. Right. Besides the few times that they want to bless them for the sin that they done.
Yep. And that's the amazing thing about that too. Because a nice amount of us, we see them, you know, a nice amount of people, they see them on the stage with their trophy and their award, and they say, I want to thank God for this. And a lot of people be looking at them like, you want to thank God for all the stuff you out here doing and all that. But what I had to come to realize just, years ago was that they actually are thanking God.
Right.
But they're thinking something else.
Different.
Because God actually, in the Babylonian has to deal with the deity of fortune and luck.
Yes.
And money.
Yes.
So they're thanking that God.
Right.
For their success and their money and their accolades and all that. We think, when they're talking about the Most High, they're talking about something else. So that's another story for another day.
Hey, that's true. That's absolutely true. It's even that deception that's even added into it, because when you put something out there and it's not clarified and it's deceiving, you know what I mean, to make somebody think something as a way, because the ones that's viewing that, they not looking that research up. They don't know that. So they thinking that you speaking up to the Most High Yah as referencing to him and speaking it in blasphemy. So they're still taking his name in vain.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. So what are some of the things that you have planned for the future days ahead? Some of the things. Now you told me we just came from having a nice meal. Didn't even ask for it. Him and my brothers did. They treated me good up here, and man, took care of me at this restaurant, vegan restaurant. They good. And we talked about an album. That you working on something else. Maybe I spilled the beans. Maybe I shouldn't have said nothing. But it's already out there now. So what's the next project that you're working on so that the people that's taking a look can be prepared for it when it comes out?
Second book of Makellow, which would be a sequel of the first one, and it's just more in depth. So it got definitely a more of a, well, the first one had a laid back vibe, but it has definitely a smooth and laid back vibe to it, and it's definitely gonna be knowledgeable, as you know what I mean. That's the research, the knowledge, great to listen to the ear. Beats gonna be on point as usual, and just pray that it blesses, it baruch the listeners, and draw you closer in a relationship towards Him, and staying woke, aware of your surroundings, and safe and dangerous, and all things and all mannerisms, walking and maturing within Him, and that's all I can say.
Is any more projects or any other things you want to throw out there to brothers and sisters that you might be involved in, or just kind of keeping them off right now?
It's a lot, that's building. You know what I mean? Don't want to properly speak on it before.
Okay.
It's the Most High's willing. It's the Most High's willing. You'll see a lot more with collaborations and building. You know what I mean? Nation building. Just with surrounding brethren, family. You know what I mean? All about nation building, just coming together. Different ways to just put the truth out here and get those aware and teaching, the law, statutes, and commandments, you know what I mean, on how to properly be done and held and all that, you know what I mean. And I say that, not just going and like the teaching, but in music, you know what I mean, and music that you can vibe to, you can ride to, you can put on a feast day, put on, you know what I mean, and enjoy yourself on a day-to-day, as well as the ministry work is drawing them in, and because all of them stepping stones, you know what I mean. You want to have a bridge to come in, you want to get away from the world, you know what I mean, and listen to something that's more like Shabbat, you know what I mean, something like a feast day, something that's going to keep your mind on, your manner, your mind, your mental right, you know what I mean, day to day, that's why we wear the fringes. So, not to say too much, because I know I'm going.
That's all right. That's all right. Sometimes you gotta keep it in, because you don't want to spill the beans before you get out there before it's time, and then other people be like, "Man, you didn't put my project out there. You weren't supposed to say nothing." So, any last words? Any last words of wisdom? Anything you want to share with the brothers and sisters about the importance of serving the Most High, and how valuable that is in the time that we're in right now?
Yeah, it's definitely viable because it ain't no time to be playing around. You know what I mean? It said you rather be hot or cold. Lukewarm we spit out. You know what I mean? So if anybody's still lukewarm, whatever you gotta do, you know what I mean, turn the heat up. You know what I mean, and get on fire for the Most High. You know what I mean, in a righteous way, not being with too much zeal. You know what I mean, but within wisdom. You know what I mean, spirit and truth. You know what I mean, and that's getting in that word and actually reading. You know what I mean, read it for yourself. You know what I mean. You know what I mean, and know, you know what I mean, just read it for yourself and be guided by the Ruach, because he'll reveal unto you all things. It's nothing that we do, you know what I mean, that we can't do nothing outside of him. And to knowing that, you know what I mean, it's in the last days, we trust no man, you know what I mean, right. We don't trust none, but you trust the Ruach within, because we're temples. So if you see a person, your brother, a sister, you know, they truly a temple of the Most High, it's going to be the Ruach within them. You know what I mean? Y'all, we'll join in within that. You know what I mean? So just all love, peace, blessings, you know what I mean? Rock your hood. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. And how can the brothers and sisters that's taking a look at this, how can they find you? They want to search for you on social media. They want to listen to your music. They want to reach out to you. They may have some questions they want to ask you. How can the brothers and sisters reach out to you?
My email is makellow@gmail.com. That's makellow@gmail.com. The music is pretty much on all social media outlets, probably with the exception of a few, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, iMusic, iTunes. I'm also on Facebook. You can also reach me through Messenger, and that's through the name Makellow. I guess that's about it.
Okay, hallelujah. Well, here you have it. The testimony, the journey of Makellow, or Makellow. Most High has used them and humbled him down to be a vessel for his people. So many different things he's been involved in. I'm excited about what the future holds for him and those that are surrounding him in this area, and how they've been able to be a light in a dark place. So we're going to thank the Most High. Thank you for taking a look at this. Until the next time we see each other again, we say, Shalom, Shalom.